This is Forspoken. When I first got the PlayStation 5 Pro, there was one game that everyone was always asking me to play. It wasn't this one. Here we are in Forspoken on PlayStation 5 Pro. The game does actually look better. I mean, it's a game of magic, particle effects, and FSR smearing across your screen at any given time. Sorry, just the ridiculousness of actually being back here is, it's getting to me. So this was that, big, 2-year exclusive PlayStation game. Showing off the technology. Allowing you to embrace the magic of a never-ending chatty bracelet. And a gal who says all kinds of random things during combat. And now, we can enjoy Forspoken in slightly better circumstances. So with the overhead of the PlayStation 5 Pro and the dynamic resolution scaling, the game does actually look a lot better. It does. It looks a lot clearer. I mean, it still needs a PS5 Pro enhanced offering, and had the game not been a colossal failure from... Yeah, it was a colossal failure. I think that's pretty fair to say. This probably would have received that sort of thing. So we've got a few different graphical options in order to enjoy this game. Actually, quite a few. So this is the quality mode. So quality mode, it was like 1800p, but we should actually be getting close to a full 4K picture at this point. It's 30 FPS, but wait, there's more. If you go to the settings and you have a 120 Hz display, you can turn that on. The thing's going to do a little bit of a flicker, and bam. So we now have the 120 Hz mode going on here. So what's cool about this setting is it actually gives us a 40 FPS mode. So it's the same sort of settings for the, I guess you would say, quality mode, but now instead of 30 FPS being the cap, it's now 40 FPS. Which is pretty cool if you have the 120 Hz display. I love 40 FPS modes because they give you this nice kind of gap between, I guess you would say, you know, something that feels kind of choppy, 30 FPS, and then something that feels fluid, which would be more like 60 FPS. So 40 FPS is kind of a nice in-between, as to say. So I think you'll quite appreciate that. And the detail of the character and stuff looks fine. HDR across the board, which is kind of expected for most games. Bam! Let's look at what is next. So next up we have the ray tracing mode. So ray tracing is basically kind of like quality mode, but we have like ray traced shadows, but only very close to you. It honestly really shouldn't even exist as a mode, to be honest. It doesn't really make any logical sense, as I think it's more they just wanted to be like, we have ray tracing. So the dynamic resolution scaler is a little bit more aggressive, and again, the same sort of rules apply as does with the quality mode. So it's kind of like a worse quality mode. And I like ray tracing. I just don't really see the point of it if it's just shadows. I don't know, like it is ray tracing, and again, I'm a big fan of the ray tracing technology. I think it's really what's quite next for having true lighting across video games. Someday it'll be a standard. Someday. But I definitely, when I sit there and I kind of look at it, I'm like, I don't know. I don't really see the point of having this sort of a thing if it's not like actually pushing, you know, interesting, more complex ray tracing stuff. And it's like, yeah, ray tracing is ray tracing, but to have its own mode when all it does is like shadow work is kind of like, I don't see the point in that. And then we have performance mode. So performance mode lowers the resolution quite a bit, but same being dynamic resolution scaling. Our previous threshold was 1200p, so we actually get to go beyond that, or at least a little bit more locking to that across, you know, crazy situations in combat. It's 60 FPS though across the board. The sort of 120 Hz thing is just kind of smoothing things out in case there's any problems there. So technically, this game has 6 graphical modes, but like when you really think about it, you know, it doesn't really do... Like, it's cool to have this on for the performance mode, but yeah, it's not like it's gonna magically get us crazier things. That's a lot of enemies over there, isn't it? Am I crazy, or is that like a lot of enemies in one kind of spot? Go, magical bracelet girl, go! You know what's really exciting, though? Since 2 years is almost up, maybe Xbox gamers will finally get to experience this game. Honestly, with how with how this was received, I don't even think they'll bother putting this on other platforms, unless they're maybe thinking they can recoup some costs with it or something, but... yeah, I don't even see that being a possibility. See, the particle effects and stuff for that are cool, but FSR is just the worst. You know, like, honestly, if you were to bring this in, and you were able to, like, do a PS5 Pro enhanced version of it, add, like, Pisser, I bet it would look a lot better. I don't think it would fix the, underlining kind of problems people have with this game, but, you know, it might be a cool thing to see. This is a large crowd of enemies here. See, this is a good, you know, kind of testing ground for really pushing the visuals. They also did good work on, like, actually updating this game, too. Like, there was a big patch that actually made this, like, run and look a lot better. So I will give props to the team when they did that. But yeah, Forspoken, just, like, I don't know. Can't remember, did I get to play it right away? Or it was so long ago, this game, and it's so kind of, like, basically forgettable that I was just kind of like, I think I played a bit of it a little bit after it came out or something, or maybe I did play it when it came out, I don't know. I was just kind of like not really hugely into it. The lead character I just really can't quite get into, and then, you know, your wrist thing is just so obnoxious, and the gameplay world too is just, I don't know if quirky is the word at all for it, but it's just kind of a lot of the character stuff is just kind of annoying and kind of a little silly. It's basically like, what, a regular random woman gets teleported into a fantasy world. And then, like myself here doing commentary videos, haha, she just never shuts up the whole time. Not to mention your watch thing, and I don't know, like, you battle some fantasy creatures, and you think they were kind of going for like a Final Fantasy kind of vibe with this or something, you know, because Final Fantasy does sort of stuff like this too, right, where you kind of have like a meld of modern regular stuff, and then you mix in fantasy stuff. I got a C rating? I just killed like 30 or 40 creatures in one area. And I got a C rating? C for cool, right? Like, come on. Level increase. I wish I could even tell you what was happening in this game, but I don't know. I think I fought something at a castle, and then I ended up going into the valley. It looks a lot more impressive now visually. I will say that, but yeah, I don't know about this. Like, it's definitely like kind of a fun-y title to revisit. Why? Is it because you're incompetent? I don't. Did you guys hear that? Did that come out to you? Because it was through the microphone of my controller. The band thing was talking to me. I think they also like toned down how much your character talks too with the big update they did. It's hard to say. Like, it's definitely like better. Okay, let's turn off the 120 hertz mode, which again does a little bit of a flickering while the system kind of takes, and then what's really interesting is it takes an extra second for the experience to actually like reach my TV, if that makes sense. Like, my TV goes black for longer than the actual capture card does. So the capture card actually has the signal all tuned and stuff, and I'm assuming that's because the way the signal is sent through, because it goes from the console to the capture card to the TV. It's like kind of, well, it's a splitter of sorts, but like that's just kind of how the feed system sort of works between the different things. So it is always kind of funny seeing like the picture kind of pop up on my viewing monitor thing for the capture card first before it even arrives for me to kind of do stuff. Like, it's got splashy combat to it. I just really couldn't get into this one. I don't know. I just really didn't find it that intriguing. Like, it's got some cool particle effects. I think at the end of the day, it's just kind of like meh. I think that's a big problem too. Is it's supposed to be like a big current gen showcase, and you know, it's just kind of like nothing really special about it. And as I mentioned, kind of gameplay wise, sort of just like annoying. was a big thing. It was just kind of genuinely annoying to play. And we're just like fiddling around here. There's actually like questing and stuff I could be doing, but I don't really care too much. Like, there's a world of lore and.
Wonder what it says.
Would you mind moving to the wandering outside?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Like, it's got a good sense of scale to it. I'm assuming they help performance-wise with this game a lot by kind of like blocking a lot of it with cloud cover. Oh yeah, I remember we walked like all the way down, all the way over here. We fought something, and then I had to walk all the way back, all the way over here. It took forever. I was like, holy. Oh, I remember that being a thing. I think I streamed this, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think I was streaming this too, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't want to do any more of this. You ever have games like that where you kind of play it and you like try to give it like its fair shot, and then you're just like, oh, I don't know. It's like I got better things to do with my time, which is a shame because we don't have too many like current gen only sort of games. And this one was supposed to be like a pretty big effort from, yeah, it's like what, Square, and did the studio get like dissolved or something after this, or got shuffled around or something? It was a really big failure from what I understand, which is why I don't even think, because they for whatever reason, I'm assuming PlayStation got a good deal on it because they knew it wasn't going to be like anything too crazy. They got like the 2-year exclusivity contract set up for it, and then. Yeah, it's just like you haven't heard anything about it. Like, did they release like DLC or even anything for this one? This is where I'm kind of like, I think they legitimately were just sort of going for that like Final Fantasy kind of creature thing, and yeah, it just kind of didn't really pan out for them. Which, you know, it's a shame that you know, new game comes out and it doesn't really hit the mark and stuff, but you know, you gotta deliver with games these days. I don't know if it's all about taking safe bets, but you gotta really think about what the market wants too, and what's an interesting and fun game. And I don't know if this one was really quite it. Well, obviously it wasn't quite it, right? Because otherwise it would be a game we'd be talking about today. But yeah, I genuinely wonder if they'll ever actually do anything with this, since the exclusivity period is basically over. Remake it for the PS6. The audience just didn't know what they were missing at the time.
Okay. Woo. Yep. Yeah.
I think I might die. This thing's kind of too tough for me. I need health. It's gonna be over. Whoa, okay.
No. No.
Yes, yes. No, I need a revivifier to revive. I've died. Do I have a checkpoint anywhere near this place or something like that? Well, at least it loads fast. That's exciting. I mean, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I just don't really care about this game at all. I guess that's my biggest thing for it. It's been years since this came out, and I'm literally, the best I can kind of say is like, I kind of downloaded it as a bit of a joke to do this video on it, because I was like, oh, you know what? It probably looks better. It does. It certainly, you know, that's what resolution scaling is all about. I mean, the FSR is still like clear as day, and You know, it could use some pisser all over the screen, I guess, but I don't know if that would even make me really care about it. I'd come back to do like a little bit of a fun laugh, like recap kind of video, I guess, if they were to like do an update, like a you know, mid-gen refresh, current-gen update or something for this. I'd come back and have like a fun laugh about it or something. And you got like different spells, and you know, if you get past the characters and all that, there's a story here, kind of, where you fight various creature things and bosses. I thought I could like wall run. Am I crazy for thinking I'm supposed to be able to wall run? She's got fire from her hands. At least you can really feel it with the PlayStation 5 DualSense. I ain't ever felt so alive until I DualSensed it up. Like, it's definitely like, it's a game that certainly carries
Sensing something.
like a high budget to it. Like, it's got that high kind of caliber sort of prestige style and aesthetic to it, but like, I don't know if that makes it really interesting to play. Oh, I'm actually supposed to knock this stuff off of it? Can you make me stronger than I've ever been? Give me the power! Oh, the clouds moved too. Oh, my defense skill went up. That's nice. See, there's all kinds of side crap you can waste your time on. That's exciting in a video game. People love that stuff. How many Game of the Year awards did this win? Like, all of them, right? Any idea when Forspoken 2 is coming out? That's what I want to know about. Because if you don't get it right the first time, it's the second time. That's the thing, too, I guess, like, nowadays, these game projects, they're so expensive and so ambitious, where it's like, I think even if you had something that wasn't necessarily, like, a huge success back in the day, unless it was a massive and colossal failure, which this game, again, budget-wise and stuff, certainly was. But, like, back then, you know, something that, like, you didn't get right the first time, if that makes it, or something where it's like, oh, we could have iterated upon this. You know, that was a possibility back in the day, right? Nowadays, it's like, you mess up on something like this, your studio's gone, your publisher's in trouble. Yeah, it's a costly mistake, is what it is. But I mean, I'm assuming, you know, with PlayStation having paid for the 2 year of exclusivity on this, it must have somewhat offset the costs. But then that was just kind of, from what I understand, it was really a period of just, you know, PlayStation trying to keep courting Square Enix because they knew something like Final Fantasy was the big thing they needed, and paying this to just trying to like keep Square Enix kind of going in strength, or like strong, was sort of just a, you know, oh yeah, no, we'll give you some money for this, just because, you know, they wanted to keep the other exclusivity stuff for things that actually really matter going. And who knows, maybe sometimes you get a franchise that hits off, it'd be a big success for you, right? And I kind of look at this one, I'm just kind of like, this is so forgettable. Like, the combat, not bad, flashy, stylistic. I don't mind it, which I think is the big thing too back in the day, but I just don't really care that much about anything going on in this. Or like doing this gameplay where I just kind of walk around stabbing a few zombies. It doesn't really make me want to like revisit it or do anything more with it. It's just kind of like, oh, this is something to show off on the PS5 Pro because, you know, it's got that overhead and might look a little bit better. And yeah, that's about it for this one, really, if you think about it. Easily forgettable? Yeah, probably. Probably pretty easily forgettable. This will be one of those games that someone will mention, like, in decades from now, and I'll be like, oh, I totally forgot that was even a thing. Like, you'll find it for, like, $1 or something on sale somewhere, and everyone will be like, remember Forspoken? Everyone will be like, oh. I feel like I'm being really mean to this game or something, but no, the general thing is people just kind of forgot entirely about this game. Probably some of you even watching this will be like, oh, I forgot this was even a thing at all.
Not something I try to make a habit of.
Meh.